All right, guys, so it is Monday morning. Busy week in the stock market this week. We have Jerome Powell is speaking, but there is a lot on the economic calendar. So first thing you want to do as a trader is always see what is happening in the economic calendar. That we don't get caught up in any type of trades. You understand when to trade, when not to trade, what time speakers are speaking and what time events are happening. That way you're not caught up in the middle of a trade while there's an event going on, or Jerome Powell says something that absolutely tanks the market. So those are a couple things that you want to look at every single time, or at least at the beginning of the week before you start trading. That way you get an understanding of what is happening in the market. So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and chart. There's a couple things that I want to see. Usually when Jerome Powell is speaking, I like to take the week off. The volatility is a little high in the market. It's kind of all over the place. You don't really have any type of like solid foundation in the market when Jerome Powell is speaking. Literally, the market goes up and down, up and down. But something, it's just radical. All right, it doesn't abide by any type of rules. Breaks through trend lines. Everything that you can imagine happens when Jerome Powell speaks. All right, but I do want to chart. I do want to take a look at a couple stuff. And what I want to show you guys is a couple of my strategies that I use when I'm trading the markets. All right, so let's dive into that. All right, so first thing is first, what we want to do is we want to look at NQ. So NQ is the NASDAQ. This is going to give us an understanding of what is happening in the market, all right? So the NASDAQ is pretty much, you got Apple, Google, Tesla, all these companies are inside of the NASDAQ. So anytime that the NASDAQ moves or whatever, it basically correlates the stocks like Tesla and Apple. They move with the Nasdaq. All right, now for the majority of the time. All right, so we'll say the majority of the time. All right, now so we always want to map out and see what the Nasdaq is doing. So you definitely, this is something that I chart every single morning. All right, so as you guys can see, the market's kind of moving sideways right here. But what we like to do is we always start on the larger time frames. All right, so we'll start on the larger time frames so we can see what is actually happening. Let's remove these. All right, so as you can see, we are currently on an uptrend. But I like to do my channels. So we'll go ahead and start with my channels. Alright. And the reason we do this is so we can understand what exactly are the trends that's happening in the market. Alright. So here we go. This right here is an outlier day, so this one right here, we won't pay too much attention to that. But as you can see, we have let's move this over. Try to get as precise as we can. All right, there we go. That's nice. So we got a touch here. We got two touches here on the weekly. Another touch here, another touch here, another touch there, another touch there. We have one here, we break below, and then we come back and retest. All right, so this is a good channel right here. Let's duplicate this and bring this over. That way we can see what is happening over here. All right, that's good right there. So we have a touch here, we have a touch here, two touches there. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches right there. Awesome. All right, so I like this. This is a nice channel. This is where I start off at. This is my base right here. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to see if we have any gaps. All right, in the NASDAQ. So pull this down. It looks like we have a gap. Not so much. All right. So what I want to do here is I'll draw this. That'll be the high of day, but I'll draw that right there. That'll be my support. We could extend this to the left. Extend that to the left. Let's stick in this line a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll put this in red, just to give me an understanding that we're getting to the high of day. All right, we've gotten to the high of day. We've rejected here. All right, so this is our resistance. And not just that, but we're coming up on our channel where we should be rejecting as well. So we have a couple different confirmations there that when we get up to this level, we should see a rejection. All right, so that's what I like right there. So now that's on the weekly. Let's move over to the daily and let's see what we see on the daily. All right. Why? I have to adjust that. All right, here we go. Now on the daily, on the daily, what is it that we see? All right, we see a little bit better. You know what? Let's make this. That's the 1 year. Let's do this to 4 year daily. There we go. Bam! Look how precise that is. All right, that's on the weekly. We drew our line on the weekly and look how clean it is on the daily. Boom, we got a bounce here, bounce there, bounce there. Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. Look at this rejection right here. That's so clean. All right, look at this right here, rejection here. Look at the rejection here, rejection here, rejection here, rejected there, rejected there. These lines are so clean. All right, so that gives us a better understanding of what is going on, okay? So now this is on the daily. Let's see exactly how we want to frame this, all right? I see a new resistance right here. All right, I like that area for resistance. We're going to thicken this line, and now we're going to do this. This is just, the colors that I do is preference, but that's my resistance right there, a cleaner resistance on the daily. All right, so now I have resistance on the daily. I have consolidation here in this area, right? So for me, that will be, I like that for a supply. Now, a couple people do it differently for a supply, all right? Like this right here can be a supply zone. I like to use the consolidation areas. So those of you guys that don't know what a consolidation is, basically is when the buyers and the sellers have agreed to a price. The price becomes consolidated, all right? They can't agree on it. They're fighting on the price, all right? It's basically when they agree on the price. And then whoever wins, that's when the stock price takes off pretty much. All right. So here we have a gap. All right. So gaps are from open to close or close to open. All right. So here is the close. All right. And here is the open. So that is a gap area. All right, we're gonna extend this bottom right. We're gonna take this up to the 4th. All right, and I like to do my gaps in purple. Like I said, all this is just preference. You can put whatever color it is that you want. All right, there we go. So that's in gap area. All right, I like to trade gaps as well. And recently I've been using the orb. So I like to trade gap fills. So what I understand, my understanding here is that we have a gap, we have now our resistance, and we have our channel. All right. Now, what else do we see here? We see consolidation here. All right, so I do like this area for a supply. But we're gonna take it over to the smaller time frames. All right, let's shrink it down a little bit, and let's see what else we can see here on the 4 hour. So as we start coming down more and more, we're gonna see different things. All right, every time frame you're gonna see something just a little bit different. All right. Here we have gaps here. Now this is a little bit far away. This isn't something that I would trade right now. I mean, it's good for you to know it, but we have a gap here. You see, previously we had a gap here. Look how we filled it. We filled it nice, just straight shot up. Now, let's see here. As you can see, the market is moving sideways, all right? And this week, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be moving sideways as well. Powell speaks today, so it'll be a little different. You're going to see this pretty volatile, all right? We can break these lines, and those will be like outlier days, pretty much. They don't really count. They don't really respect those trend lines. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really count. But here we go. Like this right here is an outlier day, all right? We have respect here on our support. Look at that. You see that? This right here wouldn't matter. We understand that price did come down to this level, so I will mark it down. I will mark that. But for me, this is an outlier day. I have more respect on this support line than I do on this one, all right? Because as you can see, we've touched it multiple times on the 4 hour. Here, multiple times. Here, almost there. Twice here, all right? So, and then I usually would draw, I'll mark this down, all right, these levels. So I would use those. These will be my support. And I usually do my supports in green. And then we'll do this, do the thin one there. And then the thick one. All right, there we go. So this is our gap. This is our hard support, and this is our respected support. All right. Now, what else do we see here? Let me see something here, because I think I see. Now, I'm not one to do like all these crazy lines, but I just want to give you guys an understanding of how to chart. There we go. All right, so if you guys can see here, we have 3 candles that hit our trend line. 3 candles that hit a trend line is a respected uptrend. All right, just so you guys understand that. If you get 3 lines that hit a trend line, that's a respected trend line. That is a confirmation for an uptrend or a downtrend. All right, so here we have confirmation for an uptrend. All right, so there we go. Now this is all, like, you don't need a bunch of crazy lines, all right? But for me, this is how I understand it, all right? Now I really wouldn't draw pretty much nothing else. This right here is pretty much all I need. I don't need a bunch of EMAs. I don't need a bunch of indicators giving me stuff. Like this right here pretty much is all that I need. All right, now this is something that I like. I'm gonna show you guys something really quick. This area here can be very, all right, I'm gonna lighten this up a little bit. All right, I'm gonna show you guys something. All right, I like what I see here for a bounce, all right? Because we have a couple different things that it's showing me. All right. For one, I have support here. All right. I have two indicators showing me that the market, the price is going to move up. All right. Now, I have a confirmed uptrend here. All right. And I also have support right here. All right. And I also have my main channels up here that I have that the market is moving upwards. So this is something that I will look at, and I would want to see where price action is when we get to those levels. All right. So when we get to this level, this area here, I want to see what price action does, and I would play this for calls. I would play this for calls. I want to see it bounce, moving up to this area up here. Now, here's the tricky thing. Powell speaks today. So this can come and break all the way down through here and then shoot all the way back up here. All right, that's just what the market does when Powell speaks. But I wouldn't go, I don't trade anything lower. Like when I'm charting, I don't chart anything lower than the 1 hour. I might take a look at the 30 minutes and see, but I don't really like it. All right. Now another thing that I would do a little bit more advanced, but I like to use the Fibonacci retracement. All right, these are too many. Like I'll shrink this down. I don't use all of these percentages. It's way too many, but I do like to use the Fibonacci retracement. All right. It's a little bit more advanced, but that's pretty much it's pretty much all I use there. I have two EMAs that I use as well when I'm in the trade, but nothing crazy, truthfully. Like to keep it really simple. Don't like to do a lot of things, but when I am charting, I like to keep my charts pretty clean, nice and simple. I don't like a lot of gibberish on my charts. This right here, I understand what I'm doing. I understand what it is I'm trading. But this is just me charting, showing you guys NQ, how I chart NQ. This is basically the prep, the start of the day. The first thing that I chart is the NASDAQ, so I can get an understanding of where it is that the market is moving. All right, and that's exactly how I chart the NASDAQ. All right, guys. Well, if you guys like this video, if you guys felt like you guys got some type of knowledge, some type of help with charting, with understanding how to chart the NASDAQ, getting a better understanding of the market, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys like it. And if you guys want to see anything else, if you guys want to get a better understanding of how it is that the market moves, whatever it is you guys want to see, I'm an experienced trader. I've been trading the market since 2010. All right, so got about 15 years of experience in the market. So if you guys want to know anything about the market, you guys want to know strategies, you name it, tell me, leave it down in the comments, and I'll be sure to do a video on it. All right, so if you guys like this video, make sure you guys like it, make sure you guys subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.